My name is Stacy Singer. I'm an ACTEC fellow from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm here with Margaret Van Houten, an ACTEC fellow from Des Moines, Iowa. This is part one of a two-part series for individuals living alone and their families. This video will discuss the concerns with living alone, and part two will offer more safety and legal recommendations. This video is specifically for those who live alone or have a loved one who lives alone. So, Margaret, thanks so much for joining us. And could you just tell us about yourself and why this topic interests you?
Hi, Stacy. It's good to see you. Over the last many years, I have helped my clients to craft and implement their estate plans, including their wills, trusts, and financial and healthcare powers of attorney. I knew and addressed the particular difficulties a single person faced in choosing beneficiaries and agents, but only occasionally worried about whether that client was prepared for a health emergency or accident. That changed for me almost 2 years ago, though, when I had a serious health scare, and I live alone. Luckily, my two wonderful friends, Sheila and Bev, worried about me, came to my home, found me unresponsive, and called 911. Happily, I got the appropriate care, recovered with the help of my daughter and friends, and am now fully recovered. But I wish I could have done something to spare my daughter, my friends, my family, and myself that whole process. The whole purpose of this video is to give some possible tips for successfully planning for a health emergency and its aftermath if you or a loved one lives alone.
So, Margaret, thank you so much for sharing that. And maybe you can just give us some context. How many people live alone in the US?
Well, according to the US Census Bureau, 15% of adults over age 18 live alone. That number increases when you look at an older group of people. In 2021, 37 million people, or 28% of adults age 60 or over, live alone, up from 13% in 1960. These increased numbers from that time ago are likely attributable to extended life expectancy as well as lifestyle changes.
So tell me, why do you think your safety and your estate and legal planning is different for those who live alone compared to those who don't?
Well, I'd say that the main and most important difference is that if you do not live alone and you have a health emergency, someone in your household will likely find out about it quickly and call 911. If you live alone, that might not be the case. And if you live alone or live with minor children, it is possible that you could have all of the best estate planning documents in the world: healthcare, financial powers of attorney, letters of directions, listing of assets, and anything other you can think of. But no one else may know about them or how to find them, as would likely be the case if you lived with someone else.
Okay, so you have my attention. So, what can someone do to protect themselves in case of an injury or a health emergency if they live alone?
Well, the possibility of an injury or health emergency does increase as we age, but I want to make sure that everyone knows you do not need to be a senior citizen or incompetent to run a risk of not receiving timely medical treatment when you need it. So I want everybody who lives alone to think about this, even if they're youngsters.
So, what can you do regardless of your age?
Well, the first thing I would suggest is to have what I call a check-in buddy, someone who you can trust, who you can check in with every morning or every day. It could be an adult child, a friend or neighbor, or a coworker, even your mother. I now contact my daughter every morning by text. The person who you name, however, needs to have certain qualities, I'd say. That person, first of all, needs to be available to receive or receive a call or text most days. Do not choose your friend or relative who leaves their phone in their car most of the time, or who views charging their phone as an optional activity. They do not need to sleep with the phone by their ear unless they already do that. Also, the person needs to be someone you trust with access to your home and who will not lose your key or access code. You need to have somebody who is willing to maintain contact information about you, about your family and your medical professionals. And you know, of course, that not only is your buddy your safety net, but you are doing that for them as well if they live alone. It is good if the check-in buddy lives in your town, but if, like me, she isn't, the buddy should have the name of someone who can come to your home and check on you before calling emergency.
So, what information does your check-in buddy need to have?
Your buddy needs to have, first of all, a key or access code to your house. And if you have an alarm system, your alarm code. If you have a neighbor with the key, be sure to connect your buddy with your neighbor so that each can contact the other if worried about you. If your buddy is not your healthcare agent, you should give your buddy and your agent each other's contact information. Your check-in buddy should know where you keep your insurance cards. Your check-in buddy should know what hospital you want to go to in case you get sick. The EMTs will not be required to take you to that facility, but I think they will try to accommodate you if they can. If you have pets, make a plan and tell your buddy your plan about who should be called, such as your vet, boarding facility, or a very nice friend to take care of your pets if you're away.
Yeah, I love that last tip as someone who has 2 dogs. So, do you recommend any other alternatives to a check-in buddy if there isn't someone you can think of to fill that role?
I think there are other opportunities or options. Some people just do not want to have a buddy, and I think that's their right. And there are other alternatives. First of all, you can contact your employer or tell your employer that if you not show up at work at any time you're supposed to be there, someone can contact your emergency contact. I don't think this is a real good option, but it is something. Medical alert devices like the I am falling and can't get up gadget, which my mother had when she was quite elderly. Of course, she would fall and then would not want to bother the nice people at the other end of the line until morning. But the newer devices are really very good. The newer Apple Watches can detect a fall and make calls. And the equivalent, there are many things that are the equivalent of like a road service like OnStar. Also, there's a free app that I've learned about called Snug Safety, snugsafe.com. You check in daily by pressing a button on the app. And if you do not contact them, they contact you, first by text and then by phone. If you do not answer, they call your emergency contact, and if they do not respond, then they'll call 911. I'm sure there are other similar apps as well. I also suggest, in any case, to have an in case of emergency contact on your phone. If you have a screen lock on your phone, you can give that code to your agent, if that's authorized by your employer.
Margaret, thanks so much for all of this great information. I want to encourage everyone who's watching to visit actec.org/estate-planning/living alone for a checklist of information to give to your check-in buddy. And please stay tuned for the next part of our series on how to make sure your finances and legal affairs are well taken care of if you become incapacitated for more than a few days. Margaret, thanks again for joining us.